Hi everyone, it's Gina K from Gina K Designs, and I'm really excited today because I get to introduce 4 brand new collections to the Gina K Designs and ThermOWeb Foil Mates line. Foil Mates are a quick and easy way to add sparkle and shine to card projects, scrapbook pages, home decor, and more. Let me show you all of the new Foil Mates. First, what we decided to do was take 2 of our best-selling Foil Mates products, which were the True Friend and Birthday Essentials, and we've decided to expand on those lines. So now we have 6 brand new greetings with the Better With You Foil Mates pack. And let me show you what they look like up close. If you hear a little buzzing, that's my laminator getting ready to perform. So inside this pack of Better With You, you're going to have friends like you are hard to find, you are amazing, don't worry, be happy. When it comes to friends, you are the best, life is better with you, and you make me happy when skies are gray. So you're going to get 12 sheets, 6 sheets of each of these designs. So that's a lot of Foil Mates in there. Then our Birthday Essentials was so popular we decided to expand on that one as well with the brand new Birthday Bash. So let me show you what these look like up close. You're going to get this fun one with the shooting stars that says Happy Birthday to You. Hope your birthday is amazing. Let the party begin. Love that. Happy birthday to you with these fun balloons, happy birthday with the present, and then happy birthday to you with the little banner. And you can cut out all of the new Foil Mates with the existing dies from the ThermOWeb Gina K Designs collection. So that means that you can use any of our single and double stitched rectangles, our ovals, and our circles and squares to cut these designs out. And some of them will even cut out with our tags and labels. But speaking of tags and labels, let me show you what else we have that's new. This is the tag borders, and I just love this collection because I'm an avid stamper like a lot of you, and I like to mix and match my stamps with my Foil Mates. So you're going to get 60 tags in this set of various sizes that coordinate with some of the dies from the tag set. So you can see how this just lays right on top perfectly to be able to cut out a beautiful tag. And you'll have some that fit with that, and also with this smaller one. Then, aside from the labels, aside from the tags, we also have the brand new labels, the label borders. And I love these. You're going to get 60 different label borders in here. And let me show you what these look like. So these are huge. So you're going to get this nice big one that can be cut out with the biggest die. That's the biggest die in the collection. And then you're going to get 2 of these, which can be cut out with the medium-sized die in the collection. And then you're going to get 2 of these, which are fantastic for small words where you really want to accentuate them with a little bit of sparkle and shine. And you can cut those out with this little labels die here. So these are really fun to use, and I'm going to show you a couple of projects that I made today using these. I want to start with the friend one, so let me grab that pack here. So I'm going to use this one here. Friends Like You Are Hard to Find. And this one's fun because you can, after you foil this, you can color these in with Copic markers, colored pencils, and Gamsol, or you can use watercolor, whatever you want in there. And what I like to do when I am using the Foil Mates is I like to cut out my pattern first. I don't like to foil it before I cut it. I like to cut it out first. So what I'm going to do here is I have a Big Shot, and these will work with any of the leading die cutting machines on the market. But I'm going to take the largest, actually, you know what? I'm going to use a rectangle for this. So I'm going to use the largest double-stitched rectangle, and ThermOWeb has these on their website. Let me show you, and also we have it at Gina K Designs, and you can find them in your local stores. So these are called the small set of double-stitched design, rectangle small set, rectangle large set, the single stitch design. Now the reason we call these small and large is because when you cut this one out, the double stitched one, it is going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller than the largest single stitched one. So you're going to be able to layer those together to get the cool little shadow layer. Yet if you wanted to use them singly, they're both designed to work with all of the foil mates. So I'm starting with the double stitched rectangle, and I'm going to line that up. And then I like to look at it from the side angle. I'm going to put the top plate on top, and I'm going to cut that out using the Big Shot. Okay. So that's all cut out and ready to go, and you can see how nice the stitching is around that. Then I'm also going to use a piece of black cardstock, and I'm going to cut out the single stitched version of our rectangle die. And I'm going to cut that out right in the middle of this piece of cardstock. This way I can still use this piece of cardstock for a shadow layer for another card project. So I'm going to cut that out. You can hear that crack, and that's just fine. Okay. So now, it's probably hard to see, but there's a single stitch going around the outside of that. Now I want to show you how nicely these look when they're layered together. So let me get the Big Shot out of the way, and then I will show that to you. You can see how nicely that looks together. And if you have any frayed edges at all, I just take the piece of cardstock and just kind of brush them away. And that gets rid of any little frays that are hanging around. Okay, so the laminator I'm using today is the Royal Sovereign laminator. You can use any laminator, including the Mink, which is a great laminator as well. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take a piece of the parchment paper, and then I'm going to take just a single piece of cardstock. I've got one right here. I'm going to put that in there, and then I'm going to put this on top. And then I'm going to get a piece of the Radiant Red foil. If you haven't tried this foil, this is a glitter foil, and it is just amazing. I love how vibrant of an image it leaves behind. I have two of them there. Okay, so I'm going to get some scissors and cut this piece down a little bit. Now this cardstock, this little piece of cardstock in here, it helps to increase the pressure, and it also raises the piece just a little bit closer to the heating element, which is nice. So I am going to run that through the laminator. I have my laminator set on the highest setting, which is the 5mm. Some of the new Royal Sovereign laminators come with just a hot and a cold, so they're already set to the 5mm. And all you have to do is make sure you let the laminator heat up for about 20 to 25 minutes before you start to use it. You want to make sure it's hot enough. Just because the little button shows green, that doesn't necessarily mean a regular laminator is going to be hot enough. So now this is coming out the other side, and I'm going to peel and reveal. The hardest part about foiling is waiting for it to come out the other side because it's so exciting to see what it looks like. Alright, so now I'm going to peel this away and reveal all of that beautiful shine. Look at that. Isn't that perfect? I love that. There we go. Now you can see it. Okay, so I have another little piece of cardstock that I cut down here, and this one is a fun one. It is from the Bold Backdrops Foil Mates background sheet. These are our different backgrounds that we have, and we have so many in our collection now, and they just make beautiful backgrounds to go along with these sentiment sheets. So I'm going to lay this in the same piece of parchment, and then I'm going to get another piece of red foil. I'm going pick this up and trim it around so I can see it here. And you can cut it really tight because you can use all these little pieces for other things. So don't ever throw any of your little scraps of foil away. They're so useful for little elements and all kinds of things. So I'm just going to save that. And then this piece is going to go on top of that piece of cardstock. Once again, it's going into the parchment paper, and I'm going to send it through the laminator. Now, while that's going through the laminator, I'm going to take this sentiment and I'm going to adhere it to the black panel. You can see how nicely these layer together. I love any kind of product that does double duty, and these dies really do, because if you want a nice single stitched, you have it. But if you want a double stitched and you want a layer, using them together is great. Okay, so now this piece is coming out the other side, and I'm going to peel and reveal the beautiful background. And again, these backgrounds, these are really fun to use on other things, just like this is, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. So you can see how beautifully that transferred. There's no spotting at all on that. That is just gorgeous. And then I'm going to assemble this card. So I have another little piece of black that I cut out to be 1/8 of an inch bigger than this piece. And I'm going to adhere those together, and then we're going to do kind of a fun layout. So let me get this in place. Okay. So now I have a piece of cardstock that's cut into an A2 size card base. And what I want to do is I want to just have it onto the one side like that, and then I want my other piece to be like that. But I want it to be more of a fancy card, so I'm actually going to trim this panel off. I have a little paper cutter here, and I'm going to adhere this where I want it first onto my card, like that. And then I'm going to open this up. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, and I'm just going to trim off a little bit of that on the side, like that. So you can see what that looks like. Now, my next step is going to be to adhere this, and I'm only going to adhere it to this part of the card, and when I open it, it's going to be free, like that. So let me show you, I did a finished version of this card, and I actually colored the little hearts here with Copic markers, so you can see what that looks like, and that's a fun, fancy fold. But let me show you what you can do with this, because this is really fun. So what I've done with my other sample that I'm going to show you in just a second is I've taken just a piece of white cardstock, and then I'm using some of the Gina K Designs Connect glue. You can use any liquid glue, and I'm going to squirt this liquid glue all over my cardstock, and then just using my finger, I'm going to smooth that glue out so it's nice and smooth. And it stays tacky for a while. Do a little bit more in there. Okay, so that stays nice and tacky. And then I'm going to take this piece, this is what was left over, and I'm going to lay it down onto my glued piece of white cardstock. And then I'm going to gently work my way from the middle out to remove the air bubbles. I might need a little bit more glue under here, so let's do that. And you can see how pretty that is. Now you can take a die and cut that out if you want, or you can just cut it out with a paper cutter. And you can use that as a second version of this original design. So now you have two. So I cut one out already and I added it to a couple of layers. And then you could take something like this and you could layer it right on top. And then you have the positive version and the negative version. So that gives you twice as many from each pack of foil mates. Isn't that fun? Okay. So now the next thing that I want to show you is I want to show you a fun birthday card, and I want to show you how to do this. Here's a birthday card that I made, and I used the Stars and Stripes background, and I also used a background from the Time to Celebrate Stampin' Foil system. So this is one of the backgrounds. It's confetti, and I used some of the glittering green with that, and then with the Stars and Stripes I used some brilliant blue. And I also used brilliant blue and glittering green with my focal image, my greeting piece. So I want to show you how at the same time you can run this through your laminator and you can make a multicolored design. So I'm going to find my birthday one here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out first. And like I said, I always like to cut my designs out first, because then there's no chance that I'm going to ruin the other ones in the process. And I'm going to use the double stitched or the small ovals. So I've got that lined up pretty well, and then I'm going to cut that out using my die cutting machine. I like to send it back through the other way just to make sure it's completely cut. And there it is. And you can see how beautiful that looks with all of that pretty stitching. All right, so now my next step is going to be to add some foil to this. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here so that you can see what I'm doing a little closer. I'm going to take a little bit of brilliant blue. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, love that color. I'm going to take a little brilliant blue and I'm going to cut out a small piece. And I want that to go onto my happy. But as you can see, that is going to be a problem because this part of the birthday, the bee, is sticking out. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut down into this and just cut a little strip off like that to make sure that that gets covered. And then I'm going to just angle that so it's not in the way, like that. Then I'm going to use some of the glittering green, and again, can you tell I love these glitter foils? I'm going to cut a piece that will fit on the top part of the oval, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry that it overlaps on the blue at all. I'm just going to lay it right down on top like that. Now I'm going to use my piece of parchment paper, and when you're laying this into your parchment, you do want to make sure that you check before you actually put the green on top. So there, we've got that part all covered with the blue, and then that's going to be covered with the green. And then I will seal that up, and I will send that through the laminator. So it's not going to attach to the parts that are covered up. So in other words, even though there's green laying on top of this bee, whatever's actually touching the black ink will be the color that adheres. So if there's other layers of color on top, it will not adhere to that. So you won't have any problem with that. And so once this comes out the other side, this one will be ready to peel and reveal. Then I'll show you a little tag I made to match, because sometimes you need a birthday card and a tag. Okay, so I'm going to peel the green off, and see just those parts are glittering green. And then I'll peel the blue part off, and there is all of that beautiful brilliant blue. So you can make multicolored designs quickly and easily just by kind of cutting around it and running it through. That's a really fun one. And then I just popped that right on top of the single stitched oval, and I did some little kind of pattern blocking just to give this card some interest. So that is my second card project. I want to show you a little tag that I made, and this uses these beautiful new tags. So here's a little tag that I made, and I used the Stampin' Foil system for this one, so I'm going to show you how that works. For this one, I used the Birthday Essentials and the Birthday, let's see here, I'm sorry, the Time to Celebrate Foilmates detail sheets and the Time to Celebrate stamp set. So I have one of these sheets ready to go, and the only stamp I'm going to use out of this is this one, which is the top of the present. Now what's really fun about these stamps is you can actually just stamp these presents. You can, make your own cakes and do all of these things with just stamps. But if you want to jazz them up with a little bit of sparkle and shine, you can pick up the coordinating detail sheets and you can foil those. Stamp right on there and foil. So I'm going to cut everything out first. So let me grab that big shot again, and we're going to back up a bit so that you can see this a little bit better. So I'm going to start with the present, and I have the die that coordinates with that set. I have that out here. And I'm going to place that onto one of the presents. Just like that. And then I'm going to run it through. Now you can stamp this first if you want, but I really like to cut these out first because then you're not going to go too high or too low with that stamp. So there's the little birthday present. Could also be a Christmas present if you want to use these for Christmas. And I'm also going to cut out one of these banners. So there's a banner die, and these are the coordinating dies that go with the Stampin' Foil system. So here are the Time to Celebrate dies that go with the stamps and the detail sheets, and that's what I'm using for this. So I'm going to cut that out. Might have moved a little bit with that one, so maybe I'll cut one more out just to be safe. Let's cut one more out. And if you think you're going to move like I just moved, you definitely can use some of this purple tape. So why don't I show you that? This is the purple tape by ThermOWeb. It's really nice because it doesn't damage your cardstock at all underneath, and it prevents you from doing what I just did and cutting something incorrectly. So I'm just going to use, it's easy to tear, and people have asked me if it's like painter's tape. It's similar, but it actually sticks less. So I really love it. And it's always right by my side, as you can see. Should have used it on that first one, but that will give me a perfect cutout this time. See? Perfect. Live and learn. All right. So now the next thing that I'm going to cut out is this. I'm going to cut out one of these new labels, and I'm going to use the largest tag die for it. And yep, I'm not taking any chances this time. I'm going to go right ahead and put down my purple tape. Okay, and I will cut that out. These tags are so fun because you can make a matching tag to hang on a gift after you've made a card for somebody's birthday. You can also make beautiful tags to hang on bottles of wine or homemade cookies and bread. So there's so many nice things you can do. And now with this new set of Foilmates, you can add sparkle and shine around the outside. You're just not limited at all with this because you can make this into any kind of tag you want. All right, so now it's time to add some of that fun foil. I'll bring my laminator back in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of brilliant blue on the tag. So I have a piece here. I'm going to put that into the laminator. I can actually also do this piece at the same time. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to lay the whole piece of foil right on the outside. So that's plenty big enough, and you can foil more than one element at a time this way. Okay, and now that is going to go through the laminator. Now in the meantime, I'm going to stamp this little element here. All I need is an acrylic block, and then I can pick any color that I want. So for this one, I'm going to use some of the Jelly Bean Green. I love the Jelly Bean Green ink. We have coordinating foil for it, so it's one of my favorites. I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to, excuse my head if it gets in the way here, I'm going to stamp it. There we go. Isn't that fun? Let's get that a little closer so you can see it. It's so cute. So now I'm going to put some of the same brilliant blue foil on that so it coordinates with the other pieces. And look at this. Ooh, that beautiful tag. See how pretty that is? Love that foil. And the happy birthday. Okay. And this is another one of those that you can actually put onto white cardstock and then cut it out again with the die, and it gives you the negative version of it, but it sure looks nice. Okay. So now I'm going to get one more little piece of foil here. I only need a tiny bit for this gift. And then I'm going to apply that foil on top and run it through the laminator. Now in the meantime, I'm going to tape this down right on top of my tag. Make sure it's lined up well. It's looking pretty good. And you could leave it hanging off like that if you like. That's actually kind of fun. Or you can just take your scissors and you can trim it down. So either way, it's going to look great. Then if you want, you can take the little confetti. So this way the confetti will match your background in your card. And you can do some fun colors. You can do some Jelly Bean Green. Let's kind of add that inside there. Put it up here. Like that. And you can also add another color. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue denim to this. Just to add another fun dimension. And when this dries, it'll dry a lot lighter. Okay, so now it looks like my little gift is ready. So I'm going to peel and reveal that. Oh, isn't that fun? Now it's got all that fun shine on it. And I can pop that right in the center using some of the ThermOWeb foam squares. I like these little small ones. So I'm going to put 3 on the back. And we'll pop that right into the center. Just kind of on an angle, like that. Isn't that fun? So that has a single present with all the shine. And then this one has two presents with all the shine. And you can see how nicely that looks as a set for a card and a gift. So now I want to show you a couple of the other products that I made, little projects here that I made. And I do want to show you, I do want to run one of these through. I have to do one of these labels just to show you how beautiful it foils. So I'm going to take one of the labels borders, the label borders right here. And once again, I'm going to cut it out using my Big Shot. Get my laminator moved out of the way. And I'm going to lay this die down. It's really nice because these don't extend underneath the open space in the die, so they are very easy to line up. The biggest thing is if you're like me, you may have a little trouble because you have warped plates. And my plates, all my die cutting machines, the plates are warped. So I definitely need to tack it down. I try not to sometimes, but it never really works out. So it's a good idea to tack it down. And then put your plate on top and cut that out. Let me run that through again. I think my clear plate was hanging off a little bit, so I'll go through one more time if that ever happens. That's all you need to do. Did you hear it crunch there? Okay, so there we go. There is that beautiful label. And these are so elegant. They make perfect backdrops for your stamped images. So now I'm going to pull in my laminator again, and I'm going to grab a piece of parchment. And then for this one, I want to use some turquoise sea foil. I love the turquoise sea foil. And if you ever have trouble with the foil, you just have to look at the back and you'll be able to see a grain in it. In this case, my grain is going this way. So the lines are going this way in the foil. So that's the way I want to send it through the laminator. So it doesn't really matter which direction you put it in. You just want to make sure that, well, it doesn't matter like which direction you put your parchment in. You do want to make sure that the grain goes in the correct way. You're going to have much better results. So for that, I'm just going to fold this parchment over a little bit, and that is going to make sure that it doesn't get caught up, and it's going to go through according to the grain on the back. So in the meantime, I want to show you a couple other tags that I made using the tag border set. So that's this one here. I made this tag, and this one uses the Butterfly Kisses Stampin' Foil and some of the Twinkling Pink foil. So I made that one. I love that. That's really fun. Then I also used the Where Flowers Bloom Stampin' Foil system, and I made this one using one of the more delicate, elegant tag borders. You can see that's this one here. Just adds a little touch of something. And then I used some glittering green and some twinkling pink. And then the last one that I did, I used this one here, and I made this, and I really love this because this combined both foiling and embossing. So I did the gold sequin foil for the perimeter, and then I stamped my image in Versamark and I embossed it in gold. So you have two different kinds of gold, two different textures in there, and it looks so pretty. So those are 3 more ideas for the tags. Now this is coming out, and I want to show you how pretty this is. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. And it is perfect. Love it. Love that. Look at the mirror image on that. Isn't that pretty, that mirror shine? Okay, so let me show you a card that I made with this. Now, I went outside of my ThermOWeb line to make this next card just because I wanted to try something a little bit different with it and show you how you can use this with your stamps. So for this one, I just used a regular Gina K design set from our collection, and I just cut some flowers out, and I did the whole background here. I used these vines. This is one of the backgrounds from the Gina K ThermOWeb line. Then I have the label borders here. And then I just added stamps and cut them out and popped them up. So you can really bring sparkle and shine into your card projects using regular stamp images that you have, and then you can kind of decorate them to kind of mix in some of the shine. So for example, in this one, I added some turquoise sequins so that my focal image also had some shine to coordinate with all of that beautiful background shine. So here's a look at all of the projects that I showed you in today's video. I hope you've enjoyed today's Stamp TV video. You can find all of the FoilMates line available at a retailer near you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.